Purpose of this video is to give you a brief tutorial about how the author helper works. Specifically, we're going to be looking at three of these buttons. We're going to look at the My Books button, which is going to contain, you guessed it, your books. The My Custom Links button, which are going to be links that are not associated specifically to books, and also the Core Links button. And that one is going to be, think of it as links that are core to your business, to your personal business. So what you might have is what you consider core links. I might have something different. It depends on how you approach business and how you're approaching marketing yourself and your books. So I'm going to actually start here with the My Custom Links because it's kind of the simplest one here to deal with. So let's just start there. We're going to click on that. And you're going to see that I have created two links here. Now there aren't any hits or anything on it. I'm just setting this up so we can get a demo of it and see how it could be used. First thing you're going to notice is it's got a naming convention here. And this naming convention is just what I personally use. The beauty of this is that you can call these links whatever you want to call them. So you don't have to follow my rules. But this is my personal naming convention where I'll put what the site is that I'm going to be working with, and then what I want to call it. So for example, my website, or maybe you might say Twitter or Facebook or something, and then some generic name to go along with it, or some specific name to go with it. So here I just say a generic link for my website. So I might use this on, let's say, signature links. You can see I have one here for Kboard signature link, but maybe there's some other sites out there that I'm also a member of. And so I just have a generic link on it. And that way I can kind of see in the hits field how many people are actually clicking on my generic link, and I can kind of get an idea of that. This one's a little more specific. Again, this one says Kboard signature link. So this is just to demonstrate the idea that if I were to say, I want people to go to my website, and I'm going to put this in my signature link on Kboards. And if you notice, this is the actual destination URL. So you could put whatever you wanted in here. So if you wanted to put Google, or if you want to put, whatever you want, it can be here. Maybe there's a specific page on your website that this would go to. And then this is going to be the actual link that you're going to use for people to click on. So, for example, if I click on this right now, what it's going to do is it's going to take me to my web page. So that way you can see that it actually does what it's supposed to do there. And then, of course, if I refresh this page now, you see I have one hit. So that's pretty cool. All right, so custom links, again, pretty simple stuff. You can also read a little bit more down here. One way you could look at these is the same idea as if you set up a link in Bitly. Obviously, it has your URL structure in here, which is nice, but it's the same idea. It's just a simple link. You get to name it, you get to tell it where you want it to link to, and then you get to use this link to paste wherever you want, like on a tweet or on a Facebook post, or again in your Kboard signature link, whatever it is, and it will then start tracking that information for you. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at is a thing called core links. Now this one's a little bit, there's a couple ways you can look at this one, but I'm going to start with this method. I say that core links are links that are core to your business. So for example, I'm going to want people to go to review my book on the Amazon book review page. I'm going to want people to go to buy my book on the Amazon book sales page. I want them to buy my paperback on the Amazon paperback page. iTunes, the iTunes audiobook page, for example, if I have that, also Amazon audiobook. I want them to buy my book on the Apple iTunes book sales page, and so on if you notice down here. Now some of these I've actually added additionally, and that is I have something called in-book. So this is basically just telling me when I look at this link, I'm basically saying this one is coming from inside the back of my book, and it's going to send people to my author page. Okay, this one is on the inside of my book, and it's going to send people to my review page. This one's in the back of my book, and it's going to send them to my newsletter page, right? So, and then of course down here you have the website Amazon sales page. So this is on my actual website. So I'm going to go back here to my website. So for example, right here is one of these links. And if you look down at the bottom right here, oh, let me go ahead and clear these things. Those were the databases that we use for countries. If you look down at the very bottom of the screen, on the left side, you'll see that it says johnploxton.com/L/181. That is the name of this particular link. So if we go back here, we're going to see those links in just a minute that they look like that. And so this way, it's kind of like the custom link, if you recall what that looked like. It's very similar. And each one of these is going to be different, but they're all going to go through the Author Helper tool. And that's coming from this section that says website, Amazon sales page. And when I have an Audible book, so for example, let's go right here. It says buy the audio book on Audible. This is a separate link. That's also what I consider core to my business. I mean, to me, I have to get people to Amazon from my webpage. So these for every single one of my books. So these are core to my business. Therefore, I put them in my core links page. And what's really cool about that is another thing. After I add one of these in, or if I edit one or whatever, if I do that, it's automatically going to assign these to each one of my books. So what you can kind of imagine is once you create one of these things and you say go, think of like a little robot in the system that runs from book to book and manually enters those links in for you so you don't have to go to every single one of your books to do it. It's actually kind of neat. So let's go from here over to our books section. Now I just clicked the books up here. Of course, you could go home and then click on the books button up here like we were saying originally. And you'll see that I have all of my books in here. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this is one that I just released. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And I actually want to show you something here. This is actually something that I had done as a mistake. When I was setting up my WordPress site, I forgot to change in my general settings. I forgot to change, and you might have done this too, my time zone. So I was actually, it's actually today is March 31st, but it's showing hits on the 1st because I had set myself just at the default, which was just UTC. And that meant that it's currently about 10 o'clock my time. And what that means is that I actually went to, it's about 2 in the morning as far as WordPress was concerned, which means it's actually on the 1st. So I gave myself a little bit of an April Fool's joke there because I was wondering what the heck was going on. But anyway, so just make sure that you set your time zone appropriately. And again, you can do that from settings and general. And then that way you'll be, every time you see links and statistics, it's going to be to your own time zone, which is pretty important. Anyway, so let's go back here again. We're going to look at Veli Unveiled. This is a book that I just released. And as you can see, I had 36 clicks on that today, which is the 31st. And then, of course, one on tomorrow. So magically, I went to the future. So now, here's the thing. Here are all those core links, the exact same core links that you saw up here when I clicked on this area. So if you look through all of these and all these names, so for example, let's pick one of these. Let's say InBook Amazon, the InBook Amazon book review page, okay? So we're going to go back to books and we're going to go to Veli Unveiled and we're going to scroll down and we'll see InBook Amazon book review page and you'll see it says core link. And that means that this link, if you go through all of these different books that we have in the books list here, every single one of them, you're going to find, so let's pick Starliner for example, you're going to find InBook Amazon book review page. Every one of these core links is going to be in every single one of your books. And that's really cool because that means that if you have a new link that you say, hey, you know what, I use this link for every one of my books. So to me, that means it's a link that is core to my business because I use it everywhere and I use it constantly. So you should add it here because that way you can, again, imagine a little robot's going to click in here and then add that link, then click here and add that link, then click here and add that link. It's going to do that for you across all of your books. Now, I have a lot of books here. You may even have more than me. So just imagine having to manually enter in that link every single time when you come up with a new idea that has to go across all your books. In the Bitly model, for example, you'd have to go and create that link. What I have like I don't know, 20 some books in here. I would have to go into Bitly 20 times and add that link in. I don't have to do that here. I already have my 20 books, so I just add one link into core links and it'll automatically go through and add them here. And to me, how I define the core link is, again, it's core to my business, meaning I might have a link in here. Let's say I'm doing a contest for, let's just choose the book that I've recently released. I might have something in here that I'm going to run a, let's say a contest or something like that, right? And so it'll be a newsletter contest, and I'm going to give this book away in 2 weeks, right? So maybe I'll say April 15, so we'll say 2 weeks from today roughly is April 15 contest um, for newsletter, okay? Now, if I'm going to stick with what I was doing, my naming convention, I really would do this. Newsletter, April 15 contest. And what I'm going to say here is, well, let's see, we probably wouldn't want to use this particular one, but we'll say a sales page. So we're telling people, okay, let's do it this way. Instead of saying contest, we'll say, let's say sale weekend or weekend sale. That's even better. Weekend sale, okay? So then we're going to have it on the book sales page. So this is actually a pretty cool idea because I'm actually going to be releasing this book. I've already released it today, but tomorrow I'm going to release it to my newsletter folks and tell them about a discounted price for the entire weekend. So this is actually a pretty cool idea for this. And the affiliate code and such is going to be picked up from my global. We can talk about that some other time, but this is actually a pretty neat idea because this is great for a specific link for this book. And I'm going to say add this right here. Now you might think to yourself, well, shouldn't that be a core link? Well, again, that's completely up to you. If you think this is a core link because you do this every single time you do a new book, I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to make this a book specific link. I don't care to put it on all of my links. For one, I'm not going to have a weekend sale for a new book release for any of these because these are older books. So I'm just doing it for this guy. Again, you know, I'm on the Valley Unveiled. So I'm just doing it for this guy. So for me, this is, you know, this is good. Now, what you could say is, yeah, but sometimes I do weekend sales. Okay. So then to be more specific, what I'll do is I'll come back to this link and I'll edit it. And I can say weekend book release sale. So this is specifically for the time that I released this book. So now you can see it says weekend book release sale. So now it's more specific. Now if I click on this link, it's telling me right here, if you notice it says destination. So it's telling me right here that we're going to the Amazon book sales page. So if I click this, it should go to the Amazon book sales page, and it does, which is great. That's what we wanted, right? So now what I can do is hover over this, and you notice it brings up a little pop-up message that says to copy to your clipboard. Simply right-click the link and select copy link address. Now, if you're using a different browser than I am, I happen to be using Chrome. If you're using Firefox or Safari or IE, it's going to have a little bit of a different message there to tell you what to do, but they're all pretty much the same. So I'm going to right-click on it like it said, and then click copy link address. And now I actually have that link address to go ahead and paste up into my browser, and it's the exact same thing as clicking it. But I'll go ahead and show you. So I'm just going to paste it up here. You may not be able to see that, but I am pasting it up there, and it just sends me to the same spot as if I clicked it. And so that way I could go ahead and send that out in the newsletter and tell people, hey, you know, for this weekend only, you can get this book for, you know, $1.99 or whatever your base price is that you send out for your newsletter folks. And then you can track how many people are actually clicking on that link over the course of that time, which is really kind of cool. So again, what that does is that gives me the ability to create what's called a book specific link that is just for this book. But and also you notice I did this for Goodreads as well on this one. Chances are I'd probably want to do a Goodreads across the board, but the difference here is this, is that with Goodreads, I have, like, let's see, if we click into view, you can see this is the ID setup for this. Now this is not a retail link, so I don't include this as part of our core links package. But this is a user-defined link. So on this one, I'm probably going to go through. I'm going to have to go through actually on each book and specifically add it for whichever one that I want. I typically don't do a lot with the Goodreads stuff, but a couple of people had asked me to put that in for my launch team for this particular launch. So I went ahead, did that, and just found out that, hey, 7 people were using it today. So it turned out that that was important for this particular book. Now, for other books, it doesn't seem as important to me to utilize that. What's more important for me, obviously, is what is the review page and the sales page. And as you can see, I got some clicks into there. So again, the idea behind this whole thing is a book-specific link is a link that means exactly that. You can set those here, by the way. It means exactly that. A book-specific link will be a link specifically for this book and only this book. It will not impact any other book in the system. All of your other books may have their own book-specific links, but they will not be shared with this book. This book will have its own, won't be shared with this book, and so on and so forth. Core links, however, core links are links that, again, are core to your business, and they will apply to all of your books. Now, you can change them once they are inside of your book. So I could come here, and let's say that I grab a particular link here, and let's go with, well, let's just say the audiobook page for, or the sales page for Apple. Okay, so we'll view that, and we'll edit it. And at this point, if I change the affiliate ID while I'm inside this particular book, or if I change the Apple ID or the Apple Audio ID, whatever I change for this particular book will now be specific to this book. So that means that it doesn't necessarily convert it into a book-specific link. What it does is it actually makes whatever field you change stay locked to this book. So if I add something into here and I then go back into a core link and I change the core link information here, this book, this field for this book will not be impacted by that change. However, every other book, if I'm in core links again now, every other book that I make changes to, or every other link rather, that I make changes to in here will automatically reflect across all books. So just to show you that, as you recall, we said in-book Amazon book review page. So if I view this, and I'll just go ahead and put -test right there, and I'll say update core link. Now when I go back to books, we'll go back to the same book that we were looking at. Now notice that it says in-book Amazon book review page test. That's what we renamed it to. Okay, so it automatically will go into all of the books. Just to show you, I'll pick another book from here. We'll go to this book bundle, and we'll see there it is again, the exact same thing. Now I'm going to go back to core links, and I'm going to change that back, since obviously that naming convention really doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to go back to my books. We'll click on this one again, and you'll see that's no longer saying that now. So it just is that. So you're actually, it's actually neat, because when you make a change, let's say that you made a mistake and you had a typo in the title or something like that, well, all of your books just got that. So if you had to go into each one of those books and correct it, that's going to take a while. So instead of doing that, what we do is we just fix it in our core link section, and boom, it's taken care of across the board. So I'm just going to reiterate this one more time. I know I'm probably hitting you over the head with it now with a bat, but I just want to put it through one more time. Core links is not something that you want to just go through and just add every single link in the world you can think of to, because it will go to all of your books. Now, if you don't care, that's cool. That's fine. You can certainly do that. If you never want to deal with book-specific links, you can certainly do that. But as it's intended for use, is that whenever you are creating a link, you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I use this on every one of my books. So this particular link is core to what I do. And then that way, when you're thinking of that, you're saying, for example, I want to make sure that I have an Amazon sales book page on every one of my books. That makes it core. That makes sense. I want a review page on Amazon. Again, that makes it core. It makes sense. But if you were to say, I want to have a, well, like I was saying before, a launch release weekend, right? Maybe to you that does make sense. I can see where that could, make sense to some people. For me, it personally doesn't, because I have older books and I don't want to have that link on all of them. It won't hurt to have them on there, because I just won't use it. But it's just an additional link that I really don't need there. However, it could also be, let's say that I said Facebook ad for March 3rd. Well, I'm only going to put that on, let's just say, that book. So, or I guess we would say April 3rd at this point. But I would have Facebook ad for April 3rd through April 5 on here, for example. Well, that makes sense to put it on a specific book, but if I'm not going to be doing a Facebook ad from April 3rd to April 5th on any of these other books, I don't want it on all of those books. So I definitely don't want to make it a core link, because, again, the core links is, it's core to my business across all of my books, not just core to my business on one book. So hopefully that makes sense. I know that this was a lot to take in, but I tried to be as thorough as I could here. Hopefully it helps you out. And if you have any questions, of course, let us know. Thanks.